Boise's real estate market might be taking off again, and we're going to talk about that and go over some of the data. We're also going to look at interest rates, some of the recent news articles saying the market is crashing. We're going to talk about some of that. And then of course, just give you a good overview of what's happening in the Boise real estate market here in late October and November. Boise Real Estate Insights, we do these monthly market updates. Reach out if you guys have any questions, call or text us anytime. But the first thing we want to get into is just the interest rates.
Yep.
They continue to cause all sorts of problems.
Yeah, constant fluctuation, which is expected, but depending on when new data comes out for the Fed, we can see larger jumps up and down, and they have come back up a little bit, kind of a rebound from the initial reaction where they came down all the way to the low sixes or almost at 6, and we're back up a little bit from there again.
Yeah, all the way up to 6.5% now in pretty much one day.
Yes.
I think it was the biggest interest rate jump in almost 2 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
In like a single day. So, and that was coming from the jobs report. So there was like 120-ish thousand more jobs than they thought there would be. And so that just created a huge increase in interest rates. And now they've just kind of stuck around at that 6.5 mark, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's where, we still expect them to come down in the future, maybe settle closer to the 6s end of this year, early next year. But realistically, we don't really know what's going to happen, obviously, until we get some of that data. And a lot of it is based on what the Fed's response is going to be to that. We don't expect them to go higher by any means. And to be honest, we'll go through some of the data here in a little bit. It hasn't slowed the market down.
No, if anything, we're going to talk about just how much the market has changed in Boise, but the Fed has come out and said that they're still projecting to drop the Fed fund rate twice throughout the rest of 2024. So we'll see how that affects mortgage rates. I think most predictions have kind of what you said, where we'll hover around 6% late 2024 and into 2025, with them settling in the 5.5% range towards the end of the year next year. And then they'll probably be there for a while. Yeah. So if any of you guys are out there waiting for them to get back down to the 2 and 3%, I don't think we're going to see that for at least 10 years, 5 years.
Yeah, I wish. Maybe never. I mean, that was obviously historic lows, meaning over the last 100 years, it was an all-time low. So do we hit another all-time low anytime soon? Probably not.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
And realistically, interest rates in the 5 to 6% are actually, they feel high because a lot of people took advantage of 2 to 3 or even 4, but that's actually still a really good rate. Obviously prices are higher, but that's how real estate works. The prices continue to go up over time. So interest rate in the 5 and 6s is not bad. I remember one of our first investment properties was significantly higher than that, and we were stoked on it.
No, for sure. Yeah. What you should do about it, right, is, and we'll touch on this many months, but is the difference between 6% and a 5.5% interest rate. A lot of times right now we still have a lot of these seller incentives going on. A lot of the homes that I've sold recently, we've easily gotten $10K in seller concessions, which is more than enough to get you down to almost that 5.5% interest rate, where they're going to end up settling probably in a year anyway, and then stay there for many years. The difference is right now you get the better prices, right? And we'll talk about some of the things we're seeing, the election and where the market's going and what we've seen and why home prices are going to go up probably more than they probably would have. But that's why right now is probably a better time to buy if you can.
The financial aspect is extremely important, but a piece that a lot of people don't value as much, and I think they should, is not just better pricing, but options. I mean, you get to have a little bit more pick in finding the actual right home for you versus when the market gets busier, prices start going up, or if interest rates come down, and now you're kind of stuck with more compromises than you would have when inventory is higher, like right now.
Yeah, that's a good point. It may not, like next year, it might not get to a 2021 point where you're putting in an offer on a house you haven't seen the first 5 minutes, right? But come next year, there's going to be 5 or 10 options versus now there's a lot of inventory on the market. So you do have a lot more opportunity to kind of pick the home that's just perfect for you in the right suburb. And with that, one of the next things coming up, and everyone's aware, is the election is in 2 weeks from the time of filming this. And we've talked about that in previous month market updates, but I think we're already starting to kind of see some things change. And we'll go over the data on that towards the end of this video to really show you some of those changes. And then before we do that, at Boise Real Estate Insights, we're here to provide you guys as much information as we can on the communities, the new things going on, and we really keep it local focused, although it is still really important for you out-of-state people watching these. Shoot us a text or a call anytime, even if it's not real estate related. We just want to meet you guys, answer any questions you have.
We're always scheduling coffee meetups, or like you said, phone calls or Zoom calls if you don't live in state. I mean, really, as real estate agents and people that love this area, we just want to network and connect with all of you. So whether you're buying or selling, obviously no obligation at all. Let's grab coffee and get to know each other.
Now we'll get into the election, and we've talked about it in previous months, like I mentioned, but 8 or 9 of the last 10 or 11 elections, home prices and sales have gone up immediately after the election.
The uncertainty's over, but also whoever does win that election, obviously they want the economy to boost and grow. So a lot of times they might change things, make different incentives or different economic choices to help foster a growing real estate, a growing economy, growing job market. It would be very rare to see things go the other direction. And we don't expect that to happen this year either, regardless of who ended up in office.
Anecdotally, some of the clients I've been working with or meeting, they're saying, hey, I want to move to Boise, or hey, I want to buy a house, but I want to wait until after this election. So it is the financial side and the political side of people wanting to kind of bump up the economy before they get into office or as they exit, right? But there's a lot of that uncertainty and emotional side of things that is a part of why all of pretty much the last elections in history, home prices have gone up, is that emotional unstableness just creates uncertainty in the marketplace. And so they'd rather just wait until they know who's going to be president, and it doesn't matter who it is. And so after this election is over, I think we're going to see a huge influx of people looking to buy and sell their house. Which is important to know because, the market will pick up.
You can kind of expect, like you said, market to pick up. And just from our personal experience, as well as the other agents we work with on the team, there's a lot that are essentially saying, why not wait 2 to 3 more weeks or another month, get that out of the way and done. And then we still have the rest of the year or early 2025 to make our real estate plans. So a big influx or surge of activity coming for sure. Going
to some of these rumors of the real estate market crashing, we see it all the time. I think it will forever be a thing, the same way that there's always, end of world doomsday predictors that have the exact date that it's going to happen, and somehow they're always 100% of the time wrong.
And it's hard not to put out the same videos because they do work, but we're not trying to share stuff we don't necessarily believe in. A pending crash, definitely do not see or expect coming anytime soon. And it simply just goes back to economics, supply and demand. And that's obviously why real estate long-term has been, one of the best producing investment vehicles, is because there's always demand, and supply you can affect a little bit, but at least out here in the Treasure Valley or Boise area, we are still undersupplied. Builders are doing their best to catch up, but until we get past that point of undersupply, there just won't be a crash coming.
No,
As easy as that.
Yeah, for sure. And we definitely, I think part of it is for a long time we had a shortage of homes for so long that the inventory we do have now seems like it's more than it should be. But in reality, we're still below the average inventory, right? So we're sitting at right around 3 to 4 months of inventory, somewhere in there, which is a very healthy market. And the other thing is places like Florida and Denver, where there is some worry of crashes in some of those areas that are centralized to those spots, and part of that is a lot of people are leaving those areas, and then some of the building and inventory things that they had in Florida and Denver and a couple other spots, whereas in Boise we haven't really had that problem. Our builders planned really well for it. I feel like when the market started coming down, they didn't overbuild like you saw in 2008, right?
Exactly, and I mean, we might get past this point at some time in the future, but prior to maybe 2 years ago, it was almost all local builders, maybe 1 or 2 small regional builders, and we didn't even have the ability to overbuild. Obviously, we have a lot more national builders here, which we tour some of their communities, but we're so early in that stage that we're very far from being able to overbuild, and we are still seeing a massive population growth with people still coming here from outside states.
Yeah, for sure. And then one thing I think that separates Boise apart is people stay here most of the time.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know how many people I know that not only the huge boom we got during COVID, but that went to college at BSU, that played sports here, that, you know, moved here a while ago. They've been here their entire life since, right? Like Boise is a place that obviously you guys know it's a beautiful place to live. The people here are amazing. We don't have the problem that, you know, maybe a Florida has where people move there and then they realize that there's hurricanes and there's, you know, Miami, you know, drugs and all of that stuff going on. So most people that move to Boise, they end up staying. So
yeah, exactly.
Still plenty of demand here.
Yeah.
But yeah, with that, we'll go into what we're seeing in the market right now, some of the data that is really showing that I think Boise is about to kind of take off again. Maybe not 2021 take off, 20% returns, but I think we're going to see a little bit bigger year. We've been having more people reach out. We're working with more people right now. People are getting back into the market of looking to buy a home than we saw in the previous 3 or 4 months, at least with me personally.
Yep, and I'd say the same thing, you know, definitely more buyers having those first interactions, and then also some of the listings that we've had that had a lot of activity maybe for 1, 2, maybe 3 months on market, all went pending in the last 3 to 4 weeks. Not necessarily because of price changes, purely just because there's more buyer demand out there recently. Some of it impacted by the interest rates, and then some of it impacted by people just feeling comfortable, like, okay, nothing's going to change drastically, and really understanding now could be a really good time for them to come out and start purchasing.
For sure, yeah, and even some of it's playing a factor into the election. There's some people that were waiting to get a little bit closer, I think, and now there's a little bit more certainty in, I think, what that outcome is going to be. So I think all of this is going to just be exaggerated as soon as the election's over. If we do see those interest rates come down, towards the end of the year, it's going to create an environment in Boise that I think is going to make things a little bit more challenging.
Yeah, if especially, you know, if and when both of those happen at the same time, because there are some people waiting for rates, they don't really care about the election, let's say, and there's some people that are just waiting on the election. So maybe one more rate cut and election completed. That's 2 different groups of buyer pools, and potentially sell and buy clients that are going to be coming out and ready to go this winter.
Yeah, exactly. And then you always have the people waiting on the crash.
Sure. Yeah.
But they'll be waiting a while.
Don't hold your breath.
Yeah, exactly. And then one of the big data points on this, anytime you see a market report from usually an agent or, you know, maybe just a graphic on like Instagram or Facebook, the data that they're pulling from, you know, usually BRR, which is our regional offices, that's going to be a month or 2 delayed because they have to wait for homes to close, which takes 30 days. And so that's going to be delayed data. And what we did is we pulled pending homes just from the MLS this month versus last month. So last month in September, there was 480 homes in Ada County that went pending.
For the whole month.
This month, in the first 2 weeks, we've already had 450 homes go pending. So just right there, we're looking to double the amount of homes that are sold or went pending in Ada County in October. At the time of filming this, it's the 16th of October. So it's looking like we'll double, and that's pre-election and pre-interest rates, you know, continuing to settle in the 5.5.
And again, that's more real-time data and, you know, boots on the ground, what we're actually seeing in person right now too. So, you know, you might have other posts where they share the previous month overall trend, but it is delayed, whereas we're doing our best to at least share what's happening right now, so you guys can make an educated decision this week, next week, 6 months from now on when the right time to get into the market is.
Yeah, exactly. So what we're seeing with our listings are starting to sell, that more activity is just backed up by the data there. And so this is where we're saying that after the election, with previous history's data and then interest rates coming down, I think Boise's going to be seeing a big year next year, a busy winter, and then especially spring. A lot of the clients that I have coming up are waiting specifically for spring to list and buy their home, and it's a lot more than it was last year. So
for sure,
think we're seeing a big year coming up here in Boise.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like if I were to make any predictions or bets, and obviously, you know, I've been wrong before. I feel like we've kind of hit the little lull we've had the last 2 years due to, you know, higher interest rates, and we will be seeing more growth than the last few years coming up here soon. And Again, it in an area like this, it could get busy because we do have more inventory, but that inventory can get scooped up really quick with a wave of buyers. And once we hit that gas pedal, it could get busy quick again.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And one of the hottest real estate markets in Boise has been Dry Creek Ranch. Even through this lull, it stayed pretty steady up, much more than other parts of the valley. So check out this video here where we go through Dry Creek Ranch, we tour it, we show you all of the different sections and show you why it's one of the most popular places to buy a house and look for you to buy your second or third home here in Boise for that investment upside. But thank you guys for watching.